Whenever I hear Jesus' law of love, my thoughts go back to the Greek island of Patmos, where the beloved disciple St. John received revelations in a cave and wrote them down as the book of the Apocalypse. As a young man, John was the one Jesus loved. As an old man, he was the last person alive who had known Jesus well. And of all people on earth, he was the one who had been the most intimate with him. During his last years on earth, people would ask John to speak of God and of the deep mysteries he had learned. He kept repeating one thing alone: "Little children, love one another. Love one another. Love one another." It was becoming monotonous for those people. They wanted something much more complicated. But all he would say was, "Love one another." For he had learned the secret of God, the secret of life. It was very simple. Love one another. In that cave, he had seen visions, the meaning of which we still do not understand. Yet he understood that all this was nothing, that one thing alone was important: love one another. About 12 centuries later, there was another great saint by the name of Thomas Aquinas. St. Thomas had written volumes of philosophy and theology, penetrating all the mysteries and questions of God. His books are brilliant and are still used today. Yet near the end of his life, when he was in prayer one day, he suddenly arose from his meditation and said, "All I have written is like so much straw. It doesn't mean a thing. It is all so much simpler than all of that." He too had had a revelation into what God is. God is love. We love to complicate things. The religion in which Jesus and St. John grew up was far more complicated than that. By the time of Jesus, there had accumulated no fewer than 713 major laws that were to regulate every aspect of daily life, plus thousands of more minor laws. Religion had become a real burden to people who loved to complicate their lives, thinking that is what God wishes. In the 6th century before Jesus, the Buddha had reduced it to just 8 paths: right understanding, right intent, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration. But then came Jesus, who simplified it even more. What he told us was basically the words of that old popular song, "Love is all there is." There is only one law, and that is the law of love. But how we love to complicate things. I remember an old lady coming out of church one day many years ago and saying, "I'm sick and tired of hearing about love all the time. Why can't these priests talk about real religion?" Well, she was missing the whole point. God is love. Religion is love. And that's all there is to it. When we walk in the way of love, we are walking with God. When we don't, we aren't. That was the entire message of the Christ. How simple, how beautiful, how true. Of course, not long after Jesus' death, religious leaders began to complicate things a great deal more. But when we strip religion of all its trappings, we reach the real core, the original truth. Love is all there is. We don't need all those other laws when we have this one. They were designed to make us act as though we were human beings. But once we grasp the great law of love, then we truly have become human in the image and likeness of the God who is love itself. As St. Augustine so beautifully put it, love and then do whatever you want. If we are walking the path of love, all that we do will reflect that love and the God who is in us. You don't have to be a religious person to walk the way of God. In 19th century America lived someone whom many regard as a very godly man, even though he didn't have much use for organized religion. That was Abraham Lincoln. During the Civil War, Lincoln received thousands of petitions for pardon from soldiers facing military discipline, court-martial, and sometimes execution. These petitions would always be accompanied by character reference letters from influential persons of government and society. One day, President Lincoln received such a petition, but it was just a single sheet, the petition from the soldier. There was no character reference from anyone, no letter supporting his plea from anyone influential. The president asked his aide, "Does this man have no friends?" He was told, "Not a single one, sir." Lincoln replied, "Then I will be his friend." That is walking the path of love. That is walking the path of God. And that is the only law that matters, the only thing that can make us truly human as we were meant to be. Little children, love one another.